What's up, guys? Twice here with another deck profile for you, this time on CFA. This one is for a relatively newer deck. Neon Messiah kind of updated it a little bit, but it's got some set 17 stuff in it, and it's super fun to play. So this is going to be my Liberator Legion deck, really powerful bluish flame stuff. So we're just going to get right into it, and I first run Korngall Liberator. Really fun card, actually, because you can hit some really powerful numbers with him. So he's a Forerunner, of course, and his ability is that when your other unit is placed on the rearguard circle from your deck, if your Vanguard's in Legion, he gets plus 3k until the end of the turn. And of course this ability can stack, so if you're able to call multiple units to the field at the same time, which with these Vanguards you are able to very easily, and with some of the other cards I have in here, then Korngall can become a very powerful rearguard. And unfortunately in many cases a high target card for things like Kagero Narukami and even Link Joker, but still a very useful card nonetheless. Now I do run 8 crits and 4 draw and 4 heal because frankly I feel like this deck doesn't need stand triggers. Those stand triggers can be good in some Liberator decks. Crits, especially in this one, are a little bit more important, and the draws are to get the cards that you need in hand to use your abilities properly. Now for the grade 1s, I run of course 4 Mayrain Liberator Bruno, who frankly is like the MVP of this deck. I mean, most Liberator decks would not be as powerful as they are without Bruno, because Bruno's ability to just get massive power and to just swing for incredibly powerful columns is really unmatched in a lot of cases, unless you're counting, freaking Dorian the Thruster. But still, Bruno is a very key card in this deck because it's so easy to just consistently superior call things to the field. Now I do run 3 Marin and 3 Josephus. I was really debating as to what the ratio for these was going to be and whether I wanted to replace them with anything else, but Marin is really good just for the easy pressure. Obviously, if I do superior call him, he makes a good attacker, and as a grade 1 unit, he just helps fill that 7k base, 10k attacker. He's a K-clone. He does what K-clones do best. He serves a couple different purposes. Then Josephus, because draw power is really good in this deck. You don't really have to be concerned about the soul. And the fact that, he's a 7k base and the cost is only Soul Blast 1 to draw is pretty awesome. And I've gotten this ability off a couple of times in-game, and trust me, the hand size is very nice. And then I run 4 Perfect Guards because while Quintet Walls are very nice, in this deck, Counterblasts are pretty essential in order to get off your major abilities. So I really don't like to run the Quintet Walls, although they can be very helpful in filling the drop zone quickly. So if you do run Quintet Walls, that's also a good option. For me, though, I just like the Perfect Guards. It's more just a preference thing. And then, going on to the grade 2s, I run 3 of the new card, Invitation Liberator Belly. So this is a really awesome new card. I think Royal Paladin actually got a similar thing for Seekers. Abilities Counterblast 1 and put him into your soul. When his attack hits a Vanguard, you pay the cost. If you do, look up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, search up to 1 card, call it to an open rearguard circle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, by the wording of this card, it sounds like he can almost work in any deck, though I'm pretty sure, of course, he's supposed to mainly just work with Gold Paladin. But what this means is that he's a really good pressure card, because if your opponent lets this card hit, then you're going to get off another attack, because you're going to superior call a stood unit to the field. So clearly, and plus you get to check the top 3, so it's not like you're getting some random card that you don't have control over. You actually get a good option in what you can superior call, and plus he's a 9k base. So I do like to run this card. There's a couple other options that you can do in terms of other grade 2s. For instance, I saw someone running Dorgal Liberator, who's not bad because he's a good pressure card, plus 5k whenever one of your unit's attacks hits. So that's another good option, but for me, I prefer the consistent superior calling that Belly offers. Then, of course, I run 4 of both Aglavales, 4 Oath and 4 Destiny. So Oath's ability is Counterblast 1 when he's placed on the rearguard circle. If you have Vanguard with Liberator in its card name, pay the cost. If you do, look at up to 3 cards on the top of your deck, search up to 1 card with Liberator in its card name, call to an open rearguard circle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So that's a really easy superior call, again, a pretty cheap cost to do so, and this is where things like Bruno and Korngall can get their main boosts, is through cards like Aglavale. Now, his other form, Liberator Destiny Aglavale, is a pretty good card. When he attacks, if you have a Bluish Flame Vanguard, which if you're at grade 3 you always will, then he gets plus 2k. So he kind of takes the role of the powerful swinger in this deck. I was considering putting in Fallon, but frankly there were just other cards that had a higher priority, and he kind of fills that role pretty well. Then his other ability is Soul Blast 1. When he's placed in the rearguard circle from your deck, pay the cost. If you do, look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, search for up to 1 card with Bluish Flame in its card name, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Now this is useful because you need it in order to activate one of the other Grade 3's abilities, and of course we're going to move on to those now. I run 4 Prominence Core and 4 Prominence Glare, both of whom look so badass. Like, I can't even begin to describe how freaking amazing it is to play with these cards because they just look so cool. Anyway, so we're going to go on to Prominence Core first, obviously from set 17. I don't know why they have the Legion rare version of him, but they have the non-Legion rare version of Aglavale. Like, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. I know that, like, a lot of people like to run Percival. Percival is a good card, but really, like, while he can be useful, he's not really a good card to be sitting on because he only gets to use his Legion skill once, and then after that he's just a vanilla. While Prominence Core here, if you do Superior Call a copy of something on the Vanguard, which is pretty easy to do with this deck, you can get that +3, +1 crit and really put some consistent pressure on your opponent. So, obviously his Legion skill is that when a unit of the same name as a unit on your Vanguard circle appears, it gets +3, +1 crit. And his secondary skill, though, is what I like the best. Counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guards and retire it, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, search for up to 1 card with Liberator in its card name, call it the rear guard circle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So, of course, you get an option of looking at 4 cards rather than like 3, so you get a really nice option of what you want to call, and because you're retiring something, if you do want to re-Legion, then you're filling up the drop zone faster. And it's a pretty cheap cost of just Counterblast 1. So Prominence Core is a very good card. There's a reason he's one of the best in Japan right now. But then, of course, Percival got another dragon form in Prominence Glare, who has a different kind of playstyle. So his Legion's 20,000 with Liberator of Destiny Aglavale. Abilities Counterblast 1 and choose a card with Bluish Flame in its card name from your hand and discard it. So this is, of course, where this Aglavale's secondary skill will come in handy, and where running Prominence Core or Percival is, of course, useful. And when your unit is placed on the rearguard circle from your deck, if this unit is in Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, till the end of the turn, he gets +1 critical, and the Glory Maelstrom skill of your opponent cannot call grade 1 or higher units to the Guardian Circle from their hand. So, of course, a pretty useful skill, and it can only be activated, unfortunately, when you Superior Call something. So really, cards like Belly here are very useful because they can help get off this card's ability. Now, you do have to have that Bluish Flame in hand, but with things like Josephus, the draw triggers, and of course with Aglavale himself, that's not that hard. And then his secondary skill is Counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guards and retire it, look it up to 4 cards on top of your deck and Superior Call Liberator from among them. So, you know, same thing as Prominence Core, but the two have an interesting synergy. One is really good pressure, one is kind of a burst skill more, which is why Gaillard calls it Explosion Blue in the anime. So yeah, a very fun deck, really powerful, kind of variation in the kinds of strategies that you can have. There's good pressure, and there's good utility, which is what I like about this deck. So, really fun, Liberator Legion, really enjoy using it, definitely one of the best decks in Japan right now, and the cards look so damn cool. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more Team Zenith, and we will see you next time. So have a great day, keep card fighting. Goodbye.